Yeah, Roger. Welcome aboard. We are going to be taking a quick look at Microsoft Flight. As we can see, they automatically want you to buy like more shit. And it's integrated with that incredible thing called Games for Windows Live, which really pleases me a lot. But let's go ahead and click on play. And let's go ahead and do a little mission here. What's this guy? What exactly are we supposed to do? Looks like we've got a tutorial here. And we've got another Stearman landing challenge. Roger. And what's this thing? Oh, we don't know. There's the Hawaiian Adventure Pack. I'm sure it's going to cost us some money. We have selected activities. Now, what exactly is this thing? Gold Rush, Hilo Bay, and Stearman Intro. Oh, we're not exactly sure what that is. There is no Aerocache being tracked, so let's go ahead and hunt.
Welcome to the Aerocache hunt screen. Aerocaches can be difficult to find without doing a little research. Let's walk through the steps involved in starting an Aerocache hunt.
Roger.
The first step is to read the hint.
Roger, read the hint. I think we can accomplish that. Honolulu.
Second, do an internet search
Shut
using
the
the
fuck
hint
up.
to find more information. Or even better, find a location where the Aerocache might be.
And they want to
The third
research
and final
the
step
big,
is to start the hunt. This will place your aircraft above the airport closest to that Aerocache.
Well, you know what? We really don't fucking give a shit about that. And so how do we get out of here? Does anybody know? Looks like we have a back button here. And so we can also have some flight tips. And we can zoom in on the spot and take a look at exactly what's happening. So it looks like we've got a Polulu Valley Icon A5 Landing Challenge 1. Roger. Oh wait, we've already done that. No, we didn't know that, but that's okay. The Stearman Landing Challenge 2. So, what exactly can we do here? Let's try Stearman Intro. It appears that we have, let's go ahead and select this mission. Rotate the wheel to zoom your view in and out of the location of the pointer when on the map or in virtual cockpit view. We will be taking off from Honolulu International Airport very shortly. And while we would like to invite each and every one of you to fasten your seatbelts, the emergency exits are located on the left and right of the fuselage. If for some reason the cabin should become depressurized, automatically oxygen will fall from the hidden boxes above. Our stewardesses will be distributing nuts, and we'll be having a little bit of a refreshment. So we'd just like to remind you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight. Alpha Charlie Bravo 292, taking off from Honolulu International Airport. While we're waiting for this to load up,
You ready to fly the Stearman? Let's do a quick walk around before we go.
we're all ready to fly the Stearman. Indeed we are.
The Boeing PT-17 Stearman was used as a military trainer throughout World War II.
Roger.
After the war, thousands of surplus Stearmans were sold into the civilian market.
Great.
Many of these were converted for use as crop dusters, a few of which are still operational around the islands.
Roger.
Others are in the hands of aircraft aficionados and airshow performers.
That would be
The
me.
Stearman's great flying qualities, good looks, and open cockpit have made it a true classic. You ready to give it a go?
I'm ready
Climb
to
on
give it a
up.
go. I'm ready to climb on up. So, it appears that we can move forward using the Z key. And let's go ahead and take a look at the Stearman. I suppose we could take a look from over here, but our frame rate is suffering greatly, so let's go ahead and put the textures on low. And we accept. And this should improve our frame rate ever so slightly. As the new textures are loaded, we'd like to welcome whoever that viewer is that is silly enough to watch our broadcast. We will be taking off from Honolulu International Airport very shortly, as soon as the textures get loaded into the cache. And until then, we'd like to remind you that we'll be cruising at an altitude of approximately 6,000 feet, a bearing of 329 degrees, and we'd just like to remind you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. This is your captain speaking, Captain Eddie Vegas. And I have adjusted the vocal quality of my microphone to simulate what you might hear from a real pilot. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as we take off in the Stearman. And hopefully we'll get a little bit of a better frame rate. It certainly is taking a long time to load these textures, but ladies and gentlemen, nothing really happens really quickly when you're flying an aircraft. And we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and go. We have a slightly better frame rate, however the textures look terrible. Let's go ahead and enter the aircraft.
Take a look around. You'll see that the panel is fairly simple.
Roger, we take a look around and we can...
Pilots use a checklist to help them remember all the steps required to safely operate an aircraft.
Would you shut the fuck
Go
up?
ahead and bring up the checklist.
The checklist. We'll press the A
You can manually perform the checklist, run the checklist automatically, or skip it completely.
Well, let's go through
Since
the...
we don't have a lot of time in this
procedure.
aircraft, I'll run through the checklist with you and help
Thank
you out with the steps.
so much, stewardess.
Here's
My
the engine
stewardess.
start checklist.
The engine
Brakes,
start.
apply and hold.
Roger.
Throttle open to 1/2.
Roger.
Mixture to full rich.
Roger.
Okay. Ignition on.
Ignition.
Battery goes on.
Roger.
Starter on.
Roger. Starter on.
And we have ignition.
We have ignition. Roger.
Throttle back to 800 RPM.
Roger.
Oil pressure
Throttle
looks
back
good.
to 800 RPM. Oil
Propeller
pressure.
control. High
Power
RPM.
Control at high RPM.
Alternator and radios on.
Roger.
Brakes released.
Brakes released. And we...
Notice how hard it is to see over the nose when on the ground? You can look over the side to get a better view. Go ahead and try it.
By clicking the wheel button and dragging up, down, left, and right.
Great. Taxi to the runway. Add a little throttle to get us moving.
Let's go ahead and move a little bit over here so we can see. And let's give ourselves a little bit of a throttle, huh? We have the runway to the left.
Go easy on the brakes in a tail dragger like a Stearman. The tail can come up and flip the plane, so stay aware of that during the takeoff and landing.
Roger, we will be steering away from that. We can move the mouse right and left. And remain on the runway.
You're taxiing a little...
Oh no! crashed into a building. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we did not complete the mission because our aircraft crashed. We will be restarting that mission very shortly. And while we do, let's go ahead and bring up our control panel on Twitch TV. Why not? While we do that, we will be bringing up our picture of Twitch TV and hopefully be able to connect to some of the people that have decided, quite foolishly, to follow me, Captain Eddie Vegas, as we taxi to the runway. Let's go ahead and call up that page on Twitch TV, and we will be popping out the chat. And I suppose to get more viewers, we probably should adjust the dashboard. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to adjust the dashboard to pick up some we will be picking up, and we are not exactly sure why we're in Minecraft. Pick up, Roger. Indeed. It looks like we have Lego Drifter in the chat. Welcome aboard, Mr. Lego Drifter. And let's go ahead and set the dashboard and put the game. Instead of Minecraft, we'll put the game to Microsoft Flight. And let's go ahead and update. And we will be popping out the chat shortly. And this way we can kind of keep an eye on exactly what everybody's happening. And if we should happen to run into any turbulence, we will be able to let our passengers know that we will be resuming. Roger.
You ready to fly the Stearman?
I'm ready to fly the Stearman, but I certainly don't want to look at all this shit. Is it going to be absolutely necessary?
Let's do a quick walk around before we go.
Okay, well, we have to look at all this shit
The
again.
Boeing PT-17 Stearman was used as a military trainer throughout World War II.
Roger. Now, is
After
there
the
a way
war,
to
thousands
escape
of
this
surplus
shit? Is there a way to escape this shit? Let's go ahead and
Stearmans
resume.
were sold into the civilian market.
The fuck?
Many of these were converted for use as crop dusters.
Well, ladies and
A
gentlemen,
few
I
of which
know
are
you.
still operational around the islands.
I'd like to welcome you aboard, but
Others are in the
we know
hands of
you've already
aircraft
seen,
aficionados
all
and
this,
airshow performers.
as well as I
The
have.
Stearman's great flying qualities, good looks,
Good
and
looks,
open cockpit
yes.
have made it a true classic.
True classic.
You ready to give it a go? Climb on up.
Appears to be the classic WSAD controls, as you would find in any first-person shooter. And we will be stepping sideways to get a better look at this aircraft. I think indeed, Mr. Lego Drifter, that you should indeed follow me, because we will be boarding flight Alpha Bravo Charlie 629er. And we will be boarding the aircraft. I said we will be
Take a look
boarding the
around. You'll
aircraft.
see that the panel is fairly simple.
Roger. We'll take a look around.
Pilots use a checklist to help them remember all the steps required
Are
to
you going
safely
to go
operate
through
an
this
aircraft.
every single
Go ahead and bring up the
fucking
checklist.
time we have to go this? Let's go ahead and bring up that checklist, although we've already seen it.
You can manually perform the checklist, run the checklist automatically, or skip it completely.
Let's just skip it completely. What do you say?
Since we don't have a lot of time in this aircraft,
we don't.
I'll run through the checklist with you and
Thank
help
you.
you out with the steps.
Thanks a lot, stewardess.
Here's the engine start checklist.
Roger.
Brakes,
Go
apply
ahead.
and hold.
Brakes, apply and
Throttle
hold.
open to 1/2.
Throttle open to 1/2.
Mixture to full rich.
Full rich.
Okay.
Roger.
Ignition on.
Ignition on.
Battery goes on.
Battery on.
Starter on.
And start.
We have ignition.
We have ignition.
Throttle back to 800 RPM.
Roger.
Oil pressure looks
Throttle
good.
back to 800
Propeller
RPM.
control, high RPM.
Roger.
Alternator and radios on.
Roger.
Brakes
Alternator
released.
radio on. Brakes released.
Notice how hard it is to see over the nose when on the ground?
I have noticed that.
You can
yes.
look over the side to get a better view.
I
Go ahead
really
and try it.
don't need to do that, but we will do that just for the fun
Great.
of it.
Taxi to the runway. Add a little throttle to get us moving.
Last time we had a little frame rate issue, and that's the reason why we could not actually see the where we were going. So let's go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle. I said let's go ahead and give it a little throttle. We will be following the yellow lights to the runway.
Go easy on the brakes in a tail dragger, like a steerman. The tail
Roger.
can come up and flip the plane, so stay aware of that during the takeoff and landing.
We have a slight frame rate issues.
Hey, we're in the grass. This aircraft can handle it, but try and stay on the
I
taxiway.
certainly would like to, but assuming that we're going to have
Stop here and I'll run through the before takeoff check.
stop. How do you stop? How do you stop, and why is my frame rate so sucky? Brakes. Where's the
When lined up and ready,
fucking
slowly
brakes?
add full throttle.
Where's the fucking brakes? Roger, we have reached the checkpoint. Let's move the point of view back into the... This is definitely not, like, happening here. And let's give her...
The tail will rise on its own, and a little up elevator will have us flying at around 60 knots.
Roger.
Give some left rudder. And
Let's
we're
go
off.
ahead and pull up, and we...
Pitch to climb out at 80 miles per hour, or about 70 knots.
500
We'll climb
feet.
straight out to 500 feet and then do a little sightseeing.
Roger. We will be doing that. Let's go ahead and cut throttle a little bit. And ladies and gentlemen, to your left, you can see a beautiful
500 feet.
Hawaii.
Level out and maintain this altitude.
Roger, maintain.
Set the throttle for cruise at 85% or 22 inches on the manifold pressure.
Oh, 85.
I'll pull the propeller back to 1900 RPM.
Roger. I prefer 70% myself. Not everybody's got their own thing.
I see a cruise ship coming into port.
We do see
Let's
that.
make our way
cruise
out there to
ship
get a better
left.
look.
Let's what? Let's go ahead and take a look at that cruise ship. Indeed. We seem to be maintaining an altitude of perhaps a little bit lower than what we should. So let's go ahead and cut throttle and drop to our correct altitude. Oh no! They didn't fucking put my fucking thing back on. They don't fucking. It doesn't fucking remember that I set it to aircraft controls. My fucking god! No wonder I can't fucking do anything. Let's go ahead and take a look at that cruise ship. You'll see if you can take a look at your outside, your left porthole.
That's a big ship. Why don't you circle it to get a better view?
We will be indeed circling that motherfucker to get a better view. will be cutting throttle. And we're
Yeah,
approximately...
here's where the Stearman really shines. It's a nice, docile airplane with an open cockpit that lets you really enjoy the scenery.
Indeed it does. Now let's go ahead and take a look outside your left portal. We will be taking a look at that cruise ship.
Now that we're over water, feel free to put the plane through its paces so you get a good feel for its flight characteristics.
That's what we are doing. We'll be giving it a little bit more throttle. A little bit worried about crashing into the ocean, but ladies and gentlemen, please not to worry. Yes, you're pilot Eddie Vegas, and we have everything under control. And now, if you look to your left, we will go ahead and level out flight. And let's go ahead and take a look at that cruise ship. And certainly it does look like a cruise ship to me.
When you're ready, start heading back inland to the entrance of the Wailuku River. We'll follow the river to Rainbow Falls. That should set us up nicely for landing.
Roger, we will be heading towards Waikaku River. And we can see that Microsoft Flight is definitely, as we cut throttle, we can see that Microsoft Flight is squarely in the no attention span.
If you enjoy flying the Stearman, you can fly some sightseeing jobs or fly an aerobatic routine at the local air show.
We could indeed definitely fly some sightseeing jobs. We will be cutting throttle slightly and dropping our nose to move in to the waypoint. And of course, Microsoft Flight, they have understood that modern gamers have absolutely no patience whatsoever. If I wished, I could go ahead and press the button N and not even have to do any of this shit. Our speed approximately 88 knots, flying at an altitude of approximately 1,500 feet. And we arrive at the mouth of the Waikaku River.
See the bridges crossing the river? We'll
Roger.
follow the river to the falls.
Roger, we do see that. We have that on visual. Without a doubt.
When flying sightseeing tours, always fly to the right or the left of landmarks so the passengers get a good view.
Roger, we are...
Let's fly to the right of the river so we can circle the falls to the left when we get there.
I must admit that this is definitely a sort of a sucky frame rate we have. I've seen better frame rates. We will be slowing down and gaining ever so slightly altitude. Cruising it ever so slightly quickly. As you can see on your left, we have really bad textures, indicating the Waikaku River.
Circle the falls to the left and then we'll start looking for the airport. We
Roger.
want to start heading back.
Roger. We will be circling the falls and heading back to the left.
Rainbow Falls is 80 feet tall and ends in a natural pool surrounded by wild ginger.
We have found the aerocache of the colorful falls and gained 2,000 XP. I'm not exactly sure what we're supposed to do now.
A good visual for lighting up on runway 03 is Lokahi Park, back near the center of town. Turn to a heading of 130 to line up with the park.
Heading 130. We will be giving it some extra throttle to make sure we don't stall out as we begin our turn and start heading towards Honolulu International Airport. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and put your feet up. Our stewardess will be along shortly with refreshments.
Straight ahead is Lokahi Park.
Roger.
Use the park as a reference to line up with runway 03.
Roger.
Look for the track and several baseball diamonds.
The track and several baseball diamonds. Roger. We will be looking for those landmarks very shortly. Throttle at 60%. Currently our airspeed 80 knots. Altitude 1,769 feet. We will be cutting the throttle to lose a certain amount of airspeed. Let's go ahead and drop on down and take a good look at the beautiful scenery here.
Getting a perfect landing in a tail dragger is a little more difficult than in a tricycle gear aircraft. Landing hard on the main gear pushes the tail down. If you're carrying too much airspeed, this results in a bounce, or two, or three. So make sure you're nice and slow with a nose-high attitude before touching down.
Roger.
This is called a three-point landing because all the wheels touch at nearly the same time.
Roger. Currently we have on visual, we have a local kayak park, and we will be lining up with the runway very shortly. We'll be losing ever so slight altitude as we correct our course to 130. I believe we have the baseball diamonds on visual. To your left, passengers. You see several baseball diamonds.
You'll see runway 03 to your left. Go ahead and start turning left to line us up for landing.
Roger. We will be turning left.
Time for before landing check. Mixture to rich.
Mixture to rich. Roger.
Prop RPM to full. We're right of center line.
Roger.
For the landing, our approach speed should be about 75 miles per hour or 65 knots.
65 knots. That's a big 10-4. I believe we have runway 03 on visual. We will be correcting our course ever so slightly. And bringing the aircraft down.
It can be hard to see the runway over the nose on the approach.
It
Some
certainly
pilots
is.
make S-turns to keep the runway in sight, or you can just look over the edge of the cockpit.
I believe we have lined up the aircraft. Our speed currently is 73 knots. We will be reducing airspeed ever so slightly. We will be pulling up.
Well, it'll take a little practice to make a good landing.
Shut the fuck up. That was a great landing. Where's the brakes?
Turn left at the next taxiway.
Where's the brakes? Brakes. Well, why is my frame rate going so hell?
Taxi back to the hangar.
Roger. And where's the brakes? I hope they fucking give me the brakes. Where are the brakes?
Some pilots will make S-turns while they taxi to keep a good view out front.
I guess I'd better take a look and see exactly how to put on the brakes. Aircraft controls. Brakes. Apparently C and X are the brakes. Brakes both X. X. Good enough. We will be applying the brakes shortly. Ladies and gentlemen. Be bringing this bird in. Let's give it a little bit more gas. Get her off the. Now that we know how to apply the brakes, we will be moving into the parking. Ladies and gentlemen, we certainly hope you have enjoyed your flight here on Alpha Bravo Charlie 629er. We'd like to remind you to keep your seatbelt fastened until the plane arrives at a complete halt.